Mayor Brady, council members, sometimes people bring stuff up at call to the public that we try to respond to. But
remember that we cannot respond to any questions or comments that are raised, so that's not permissible at a call to the public.
But when they run out of the council meeting right after they speak, there's no reason to respond. They're not listening. They're not watching.
Remember that we cannot respond to any questions or comments that are raised, so that's not permissible at a call to the public.
And so Mary Bonaventure, who's probably spoken the last 10 meetings, the minute she criticizes the city and say crimes are being committed, she immediately exits the building.
Oh, that's right, you can't speak. Okay.
The minute she criticizes the city and say crimes are being committed, she immediately exits the building.
Remember that we cannot respond to any questions or comments that are raised, so that's not permissible at a call to the public.
So a lien dating back to 2012 that was appropriately handled by the city is not something that we're going to litigate here in the council chambers.
Remember that we cannot respond to any questions or comments that are raised, so that's not permissible at a call to the public.
The city did nothing wrong. The city has a robust code enforcement plan at the directive of the city council to clean up our community. Under former Mayor Jack Hecht, it was one of his top priorities that the city create a more robust code enforcement plan.
I just think it's improper for him to sit on this committee, which is what I had said the last time his name came up. There could be the perception of impropriety.
We've had perceptions in the past with members of that commission that have had conflicts of interest and that have used that position to benefit themselves and not the residents.
It's howdy doody time. It's howdy doody time. Barnsmith and howdy too.
And to me, Adrian has the integrity, and in my opinion, has the integrity to move aside when there's a problem, but he has value to the commission. That's just my opinion. But why don't we just take?
And as I said, I'm not trying to impugn his integrity
I know
or
you're
anything.
not.
I'm just saying that I feel he'd be better served on a different committee or commission.
Remember that we cannot respond to any questions or comments that are raised, so that's not permissible at a call to the public. So,
of course people dislike that when they receive citations and notices and liens and liens and liens. We do lien property. There's no question about that. If you do not clean up your property, we will clean it up and we will file a lien on your property.
Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got.
It's pretty straightforward. Don't have a junky property, you won't be visited by code enforcement. We won't clean it up. We won't abate it, all legally. But if you defy that, the law is the law. We will abate it and we will file a lien. So, again, I'm not going to talk any further about the specific claims being brought up, but I can promise the council and the community there are no crimes being committed by our code enforcement division, the director, by our staff, by our attorney. We've torn down hundreds of homes since I've been your city manager. Not 10 homes, hundreds of homes have been torn down.
It's howdy doody time. It's howdy doody time.
Good evening, Mayor Council. Mary Bonaventure, a victim of crime at the hands of Bullhead City. Toby Cotter, I have sent you hundreds of emails asking why a lien was put on my property, no money owed, a crime. You tell me it's been resolved, but refuse to answer how it was resolved. I have to ask, are you part of the crimes committed against me? Are you aiding and abetting by covering up these crimes? Either Bullhead City is trying to make me very wealthy woman because I did not pay Juan and he's asking for it and I got cited, or all commercial land is going to be required to get rid of weeds, dead brush, and trim native plants above ground. Isn't Highway 95 going to look so much better? You folks watching can be witness and judge. Is this retaliation? Am I the only one, or is Bullhead City getting cleaned up?
We've torn down hundreds of homes since I've been your city manager. Not 10 homes, hundreds of homes.
And more pressing, I have also continued to ask why Jamie Kelly was hired to lie about me. The answer was to put fear in me. This is a lien on my property going to be auctioned if I do not pay extortion. Many of you heard about the IRS scam, calling people and telling them to pay money they don't owe or they're going to jail. They pay not because they owe money, but because of the fear put in. Exactly what the city did by hiring Jamie Kelly lying about me. When I first received a letter from Jamie Kelly on behalf of Bullhead City, Jamie Kelly states we've been retained to collect sums secured by the above referenced notice and lien of claim. The letter goes on with a lying tangent by Jamie Kelly about a made-up story dating 2016. Nothing in this letter references 2012 lien. It was a smoke and mirror show, deception at minimum. It's impossible to have a 2012 lien for something in 2016. And by the way, I was refused a copy of the lien, obviously because it had nothing to do with Jamie Kelly's lying tangent dated 2016, and the lien clearly stated 2012. I had to get a copy from the assessor's office. The purpose was to send me in circles and defend the lies that Jamie Kelly was saying occurred in 2016.
Not on my report, but I do want to mention it because it's important. I mentioned it at the last meeting, probably pretty animated too, in my speech, is dealing with the homeless situation. The shelter is open. Individuals are staying there overnight, and those who decide not to stay there overnight will be dealt with appropriately.
¡Claro que sí! ¡Ay, ja, ja! ¡Sí, señor!
Whether it's through Catholic Charities at the homeless shelter or through the River Fund through alternative placement, those individuals who want to sleep on a park bench will be dealt with appropriately, and that could include asking them to move on. If they decide not to move on, there is a place for them in Kingman, in the jail.
How are we going to get out of this?
Well, Johnny, I think that one of the things is that people keep looking to government for the answer, and government's the problem.
Bob Smith and howdy do. Say howdy do.
You asked, about people and feeling not only confused, but low and down in America. First of all, the American people, if they would just take a little inventory and look around, you triple our troubles, and we're better off than any other people on earth. And we've asked so much of government, and we've gotten in the habit over the last 40 years of thinking that government has the answers. There's very little that government can do as efficiently and as economically as the people can do themselves. And if government would shut the doors and sneak away for about 3 weeks, we'd never miss them.
hundreds of homes since I've been your city manager. Not 10 homes, hundreds of homes.